just a couple market updates about what's happening in Phoenix. I've seen many articles lately saying Phoenix is at the top of the charts when it comes to price reductions and concessions and buyers having the most leverage here in the Valley. I think it's wonderful, by the way. I would love to see, even if the prices continue to trickle down, I would love that. As the rate continues to slowly trickle down, and I'm not a fortune teller, but if the rates do continue to trickle down through the end of the year, it's just going to get better and better. And what we're seeing more buyers coming out every single day. Right now, my business partner, Chase, and I, we're writing deals for people that are at 3.75, 3.99 fixed on new home construction builds. We're seeing sellers buy down points for buyers for better interest rates. So believe it or not, this is a great time to buy. I've been in the business 25 years and I've seen 4 buyers markets. This is a wonderful time to buy. So the sellers are very flexible right now for the most part. So buyers have a lot more choice. And that's why we're really focusing in right now on buyers. So last thing I'll say about that is a lot of people think, gosh, it's just it's not affordable. You don't know until you go talk to a lender. So we can see what your purchasing power is. And believe it or not, there's a lot of programs right now that people are using to help get them into their first home. So don't give up. Go check it out and find out what you can do.
Welcome to the Jeff Sutherland Show. Let's grow today as we learn from decades of real estate and leadership experience.
We want you to know that when you log into this show, you're going to get authentic conversation. We're going to give it to you straight, and it's going to be real. Hey everybody, Jeff Sutherland on the Jeff Sutherland Show. Today I'm going solo. My business partner Chase is out selling houses. He's selling a lot of homes. And today I have an amazing lady. Her name's Courtney Neugart, and I've known her for just a couple weeks. I wanted to welcome Courtney to the show. Courtney's been licensed since 2006. She's a great producer, and I wanted her to come on the show for a variety of reasons, but she's also a great leader. And I want to talk a little bit about her, about leadership, and just about her past and where she's going. Courtney, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jeff. It's good to be here.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. So tell us, Courtney, a little bit about your background. Tell us about, what you've done and what you're doing now in your business.
Yeah, sure. So, like you said, I got my license in 2006. In 2008, we all know what that was like. And at that time, I really couldn't depend on a commission check to save my life. And also, my husband started a business in 2008 and did not take a paycheck for the first couple of years. So in 2008, I decided to go work for a local property management company called Mark Taylor Residential. My husband's very well connected with them. He's always been in the multifamily space. So I worked for Mark Taylor for several years. And then wanted to get back into real estate. At the time, my husband wasn't too keen on the idea because of some things that happened in the beginning of my career. But I also ended up selling plastic resin, rail cars of plastic resin all over the U.S., Canada, and Mexico. My uncle hired me on. I was able to work from home. I had little ones at that time. So that was a great experience. And then that company, we had to eventually shut our doors. And I wanted to go back into real estate. So we had a dear friend of ours that was leading a team, and he asked me to join, and I came onto his team. We were with Remax at that time, back in 2016, and I was his mentor on that team for a few years, and it was great. And then we kind of parted ways, and I stayed with Remax for a couple of years, and then I ended up at Revelation. A local Christian couple had a brokerage here that I really loved. 2018, they encouraged me to start my own real estate team. I had several women that were kind of following me over from that team that I was a mentor on. And Chuck and Angela both said, it's time for you to start a team. So I did. I had a dear friend that had followed me over there, and I knew that I couldn't do it on my own. So my business partner at the time, Mandy Regan, helped me run that team. We had 14 agents when we started, and all of those agents were brand new agents. And I remember what that feeling was like. That time in my life was very special to be able to just pour into those women and kind of get them producing. In 2020, right before the pandemic hit, we decided to close down our real estate team, and Mandy and I just continued to be business partners for a couple of years. And Mandy, her passion is clothing. So she actually opened up a clothing boutique out of her home. She now has a location in downtown Gilbert, which is just so fun. That's probably 95% of my wardrobe. Love supporting her. And then last year, so I was doing real estate on my own for the last couple years, and real estate is lonely when you're on your own. And a friend of mine that I worked with back in my days with at Revelation, she and I just always would see each other, and we're just in and out of each other's lives. And we sat down to have lunch together one day, and she wanted me to look into, I don't know if you've heard of American Dream TV, but they had pursued her. She wanted
Yeah.
to, I would be interested in looking, splitting the cost with her and doing that. I was not interested in doing that at the time. But we continued the conversation and decided that it would be just an honor to do life together. And so we founded Avenue 4319, our real estate team. And it is faith-based. It is based off of Isaiah 43:19, which says, I am doing a new thing. I am making rivers in the wilderness and streams in the desert. Both Stephanie and I are coming out of a pretty tough year. I lost my father last year. My dad was my best friend. So I lost him suddenly. Stephanie lost her best friend. It was her, like a sister to her cousin. And she also beat breast cancer last year. So both of us, I also had joined a real estate team that I had thought was my dream job last year. And it was, it did not end well. So it was definitely, my heart was crushed when I left that brokerage. And so it was just a tough year. And so we were both Jesus lovers. And so we just wanted to shine Jesus's light in our team. And so we are just kind of on the brinks of getting that team started. We just launched our website and, doing all kinds of marketing, and probably will host a little party here in October to benefit Stephanie after beating breast cancer and try to give back to a local breast cancer survivor, and probably do that in October. So.
Wow. Thank you. You gave us a lot to talk about. And so I want to go down a few of those roads with you. What a beautiful story you have. First of all, you got your license in '06. I remember I was running a Keller Williams office in 2005. I was the team leader. I'll never forget it. It was in October, and everything was going hunky dory. Transactions were coming in the door. There's a lot of volume going through the branch. And then I literally could feel it stop. I could feel the spigot being turned off. Mm-hmm. And then after that, it was a tsunami of price reductions like I've never seen. So to get into this business in '06, arguably that could have been the worst year ever in the last 25 years to start a real estate business. What was that like?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I guess I didn't know any different. So when you're in that beginning stages of like the worst market ever, I didn't know any different. So for me, it was an exciting time. I was hungry to learn, and didn't have the best broker at the time. But I did learn a lot that, in those beginning years, it was a very male dominated brokerage. And so there was, just some issues there. And then I was with Tom Chambers. He had a real estate brokerage. I was with Tom Chambers for a little bit. And then my mom has always had her broker's license. My parents actually ran a real estate brokerage when I was growing up. And so my mom and I ended up partnering up for a few years. And it was, I didn't know any different. I didn't know that it was like the worst market ever. I had nothing to compare it to. So, yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot to be said for that. Like the last couple of years, I've told people, I said, you don't understand. This is the best time to get in. If you got back in 2020, 21, you could get hit by a transaction. That's how easy it was.
Yeah.
And now in 2024, 25, like for example, my business partner, Chase, he started about a year and a half ago. First year closed like 14 deals.
Wow. That's
yeah. And we taught him scripts and dialogues on how to do open houses. To the point where he's putting 30 signs out for open house. It's a big deal. When Chase comes in to do an open house, it's a lot of traffic. We do a lot of online marketing prior. We do a lot of signage. And this year he's on track to do over 30 transactions.
Praise God. That's so cool.
Yeah, I know, right? Second year. But my point being is that if you can learn the skills in a down market and really grind it out and find a way to be profitable when the market turns around, it's truly, truly amazing.
Yeah. I do often look back at, that 2008 cutoff point for me. And I wish that I could have stayed in it, to learn short sales and be a part of those few years after that. But it just wasn't feasible for our family at that time. We had 3 little kids. So
I get it. People have to make pivots sometimes, and I always tell people sometimes you got to take one step backward to take 2 steps forward, and you have to do what you got to do. I've coached many agents, Courtney, over the years, and I've said, I do think you probably need to exit the industry for a while or go take a job, right? I mean, because you got to provide, and there's nothing wrong with doing this business part-time or just saying, I'm going to take a break for a bit, come back in when it's better. You spoke about leading women. Okay. I'd like to drill down on this. This is pretty special. I'd like to get some of your thoughts, some of your advice on, you obviously have a passion around it. You lead women at your church. You've led women on a real estate team. I think it was all women. So what was that like? And how do you lead women? It's a pretty open-ended question.
Yeah. I feel like God has given me the gift of patience and empathy. So I think that those two go hand in hand when you're trying to lead women well. I think, you just need to be able to listen and lead from a place of, watch me, just look at what I've done to be successful. And here I'm sharing those with you. And that, it was also part of one of the hard things of leading a team is because you would, tell these women, like, here's what I've done. It's the same thing with my walk with Christ, right? Like, I can tell you what I do, but unless you're willing to do those things that I've done to be successful, I can't hold your hand. So, it's much like being a parent. You want good for your children. And I've been through a lot of mistakes in my past. And so you don't want your children to make those same mistakes, just like I don't want the women in my church groups to make those same mistakes. I don't want the women that I've led in real estate to make those mistakes. But you can only tell someone so many times. And if they're not willing to put in the work, it's hard to watch. I can remember some of those girls coming back to me after, a month, and I've said, okay, this is what I want you to do for the next month. And they'd come back to me crying because they haven't put anything under contract or they don't have, buyers in the pipeline or whatever it is. And I'll ask, like, did you do the things that I encouraged you to do? And a lot of times it's, well, no. So it's like, well, it's hard. It's hard to lead women. It's, I've never really led men before, so I can't really speak to that. My passion is women because I've always said that I think if I would have had a mom when I was younger that could have poured into me, or even, I had my grandmothers were both incredible role models for me. And my mom was too. She was just driven on her career. Like that was everything to her. So I didn't get the mom. I got just, I can look to my mom for success and, climbing the ladder and all of the things. But I often have looked back at my young teenage years and wondered if I had, somebody speaking into my life at that time, would it have been different for me? And so I have spent a lot of time pouring into the youth at my church, high school women. And now really my focus is women of all ages. I just know what it's like to be a woman. I've been through a lot in my marriage. I've been through a lot in parenting my 3 children. I've been through a lot in my career. And if I can just share the wisdom and the heartache that I've gone through and give somebody that hope, I feel like, that's what God wants me to do. So I'm just going to be obedient to that.
It's amazing, Courtney. Thanks for sharing that. I'm going to generalize when I say this. I think sometimes men we miss something when it comes to relationships. We try to solve everything
Right.
instead of listening. And I can see you have a gifting of listening. So I would bet that was one of the reasons why you're such a good leader amongst other women. You actually listen. That's a good trait. When I teach agents nowadays, I've learned over the years, as you get older, you finally figure it out. But I like to essentially teach them, then demonstrate what I'm teaching them, and then have them demonstrate it back to me. And because adult learners learn kinesthetically, we learn typically through doing. We don't learn by just being told. It's very difficult to effectuate anything or, do something by just hearing it and going, yeah, I'm going to go do that. You have to do it, and then receive feedback from that. And then
Right.
I think one of the biggest issues we have in this industry, there's 2 reasons why agents fail, in my opinion. 2 words: independent, contractor. And that is because we come into the industry thinking we're going to have freedom, we're going to be our own bosses, and then there's no accountability. So I tell people right off the bat, if you're going to work with me, I'm looking for a certain avatar, right? I'm looking for people that are actually accountable, that are going to do what they say they're going to do, and know that I have high standards for the people that are in my inner circle. Right. So I think that when you operate from a place of integrity with people and you tell them, hey, this is what I'm expecting. And by the way, I'm going to give you all these things in return. I'm going to serve you, because a leader really is serving their people. The leader is the chief servant. Look at Jesus, So I just, sorry, I went off on a long tangent, but I think women are very good at listening, and they have empathy. But they can also, if they have empathy, and they can also be tough when warranted, or, say, hey, this is what we got to do. I think that makes for an amazing leader.
I agree. Yeah.
You also shared you lost your father last year. I want to say I'm sorry about that. I lost my father in COVID, 2020. Still, I would say not 100% rehabilitated from that experience. That was a very difficult time, not being able to really come into the hospital, and that was a time in our history that I wouldn't wish that upon anyone. But yeah, when you lose your parents, I don't think you really even understand what it's about until it happens.
Right.
It's difficult.
Yeah, I can't imagine not being able to, I spent every second that I could with my father as he was passing. And so I can't even imagine what that was like for you during COVID to not have those final moments with your.
Yeah. Thank you. I spent many hours in my office here crying, and I vacillated through crying, anger, you name it. And that was not a good year for me. I've told many people that I was probably the worst version of myself in my life in that year. I went through so many different emotions, and I was so angry at so many things.
Yeah.
And I just think by the grace of God, I'm a forgiven person, it's tough. I miss him every day. So I just wanted to say thank you for bringing that up, because it changes you as an adult so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me, Courtney, tell me what else you're doing right now to fight through this crazy market we're in. Do you have any advice? What are some things you're kind of positioning yourself for? And yeah, anything like anything going on there?
Yeah, for sure. It is a different market right now, for sure. I loved what you said at the beginning. Buyers really do have an advantage right now. And I'm really trying to encourage so many of my clients that are really sitting on the sidelines waiting for interest rates to drop. And I'm like, don't do that. Right now, you have so much leverage. There's so many sellers that are desperate to sell their homes that they're willing to buy down your interest rate. They're willing to, negotiate on repairs, roofs, ACs, all those big components that are so expensive. And when interest rates drop, it's not gonna be like that anymore. The sellers are gonna have the upper hand again. And so yeah, as far as on the listing side of things, as much as even talking to you on, even though we're just having a conversation, I shared with you before, public speaking is something that just terrifies me. But it is a necessary evil when it comes to marketing a listing, doing social media, doing videos for each one of my listings, just being out there and creating those relationships with other agents and talking. You just got to work for it right now when it comes to your sellers. So
Yeah, so true. You got to do more than just put it in the MLS.
There's a lot of have, for whatever reason, found that that's their only game plan.
Yeah. And I think it's really important that you're masterminding with other people. You have to be in the right rooms with the right people that are sharing ideas that are big ideas. We were talking about this before. If you're not growing, you're dying. And that's about in any industry. Like, look what AI's done to our industry just in the last 6 months.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I didn't even know what ChatGPT was like a year ago. Now I use it almost every day.
Yeah, same. I have, been on so many not podcasts, but webinars lately, just learning, all of the different components that are available to us through AI and ChatGPT. And people are talking about the fact that they've been using it for 5 years. And I was like, wait, what? I had no idea.
Absolutely. And, it's becoming so amazing. Like today, practical use. I activated a listing, had a write-up that I did. I used kind of a boilerplate that my company does. A lot of people use a company called Rocket Lister. I use Rocket Lister. So they give you okay, great. So they give you a narrative, right? They give you a narrative, and then I plug it into ChatGPT and I go, well, this is what I like. This is what I don't like. And then it threw me out another, 800 character, description. And then I asked my seller, I said, okay, this is what I got so far. Let me know what you think on this. And please feel like you can collaborate with me. It's okay. You're not going to hurt my feelings. And they threw in a couple things. I was like, great. So went back to ChatGPT, said, can you change this to that? Can you add in what the seller asked for and keep it all under 800? I was like, this is the best thing ever. I mean,
it is.
Before I would have spent hours on that. It's crazy.
No, I am the same way. I do for me, it is such a gift from God because I shouldn't probably say this out loud, but I haven't always felt very, as I stumble on my words, I feel like Moses a lot of the time where I'm just, not able to articulate exactly what I want to say. But when I read the, Chat GPTs, I'm like, that's exactly what I wanted to say. I just couldn't get it out.
Yeah, that's good. Well, you just need a brother like Aaron, like Moses had Aaron, right? You just need a brother like that or a sister.
Actually, it's so funny that you said that. One of a woman that has been praying over me for the women's ministry at my church. I went to a retreat in March and she called. I had told my friend Sarah that I feel like Moses when we were driving up to the retreat. And the speaker, this gal, Alyssa, she called me out. She goes, "You know who you are?" She goes, "You're Moses, and that's your Aaron." So I have an Aaron.
That is so cool, Courtney.
Sarah, yes.
That's so good. And for everybody that listens to us, y'all know I don't keep it a secret. I'm a believer. I'm definitely, connecting with Courtney today. And people often ask me, Jeff, why are you so happy all the time? Well, that answer is very, very easy. It's called Jesus, the Holy Spirit. The Spirit's in my heart. I'm happy about life, and I believe I'm called to spread hope. I'm an ambassador of hope, and I like to show His light.
Same.
So yeah, and that's why I love talking to people that have the same values and beliefs that I have. But the cool thing is even if somebody did not agree with what I believe in or didn't believe what I believe in, I'm still going to love them. And I think this society needs a lot more love and just instead of condemnation, a lot more just, can we love people? Because, if you do believe there's a God, He's going to be the judge, not me.
That's right.
It's not up to me to judge. It's up to me to love. And so that's my whole mission in life. And I fall short many times, to the glory of God. And I'm a sinner, but I'm also redeemed.
Yes.
And by the blood of Christ. So I'm really just thankful for you, Courtney, and what you're doing just in your business and in your church, and you're making a difference. And that's what life's all about, here on earth. So I'm really proud of you for everything you're doing.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Thank you so much. It sounds like you're doing the same.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. We were talking earlier, we love what we do. And when you love what you do, it's a good life. You're going to have some setbacks now and then, but I enjoy every day getting up and trying to help consumers. I know you do as well. What do you like the most, Courtney, with all the things you do? Is there a certain thing that what's like some of the favorite things about being a real estate agent?
Oh, the people, getting to just have one little bit of impact on people's stories, where your home, I always say, like, you can travel anywhere in the world, but there really is no place like home. Like, coming home and being in your own bed there's just something so special about that. And it's where you have your happiest and your saddest moments. It's where you celebrate holidays. And, you know, it, it's, it's just such a special piece of what we as humans get to do in this life. And so to be able to have one little part in people's stories is just such an honor to me. I do not take it lightly. I just feel so much gratitude. I was sharing with you before in being in real estate for 18 years, I can count on one hand, maybe two of my most difficult clients. Difficult. And even those clients, I still just love them and feel so honored that, God put me into their life, probably because I had more patience than anybody would have for them. But still, I just love what I get to do. And for years, my husband was so miserable in his job. And it just made me so sad because even on those hardest days, I get up and I love, love, love what I get to do. And I think it is such a waste of our short little life if you are not absolutely loving what you're doing on a daily basis.
So maybe this is something people can take out of this episode right there, right? If you're going to work every day and you're miserable, tell me what you think of this, Courtney. But at the end of the day, we have to take action. I mean, you can't stay in that quagmire forever. You have to step out, take a leap of faith. It's, I don't think God wants us to be miserable. In fact, He wants us to have an abundant life. He wants us to be happy, right? So, what do you say to somebody, kind of as we're heading down the home stretch, what do you say to somebody that's just, they feel like they have no options, and it's like, how do you guide them out of that? So they have that courage to go try something new.
Yeah. Prayer is the foundation of everything that I do. So I would definitely start with prayer. God will provide. He is a good father. And, if He doesn't, like you said, He doesn't want you to live in a miserable existence. And, sometimes you just have to have that faith to take that one step that, He'll probably light up that path, and you just take one step and then the next step. And before you know it, you could be living your dream life. But if you're too scared to take that one step, then you're going to feel stuck.
Yeah. There's a gentleman in my church. His name's Bob. I really look up to him a lot. He actually made a decision years and years ago to be a modern day Paul. He literally has a van. Okay, he lives in the van and he lives amongst the homeless population.
I love it.
He goes around and he cares for them. He prays for them. He worships with them. We see him at church every Sunday. He comes to our church, and he also comes to what we call La Mesa Ministries and Tuesday night in downtown Mesa, Rio Salado and Country Club. And we actually worship with like 300 homeless people, and we serve them food. And it is glorious because getting back to living a happy life, Bob could tell everybody he's miserable, but he's never miserable. He's always happy. Right. And you see people with all this money. In fact, I read a study recently that if you make over $150,000, that's when your happiness starts to decline. I read this study. I forgot where it was coming from, but that seems to be like the pinnacle, like the median, of where happiness ends, so to speak, and it starts to fall off. So money truly is not mapped to happiness. And so this guy lives that life and he pours into people on the street, happy. I mean, all the time. And so happy, he drags a cross down Country Club on his shoulder and he drags it for a mile every Tuesday night. And everybody's honking at him. He's waving, he's smiling at people. And I look up to somebody like that. I really do. And it's like some of us are so wrapped around the axle, trying to make money all the time, stressed out. It's like sometimes you got to really take inventory of your life and go, what am I doing? What am I doing?
Yeah, Jeff, I would love to connect with you after this call just about that. For many, many years when my children were young, I was part of a group of women that we would go serve the homeless every morning on Christmas. And that group kind of fell apart a little bit, but I started it back up last year. So a couple months before Christmas, my sisterhood that I lead at my church, we will collect, things that the homeless need: socks, blankets, jackets, hats. And on Christmas morning, first thing in the morning, we will just go open up our cars. I always get hot coffee and donuts, and somebody usually makes breakfast burritos. And we just spend the first few hours of Christmas morning interacting with and praying for and just loving on people that are so much less unfortunate than we are. And it is honestly like one of my favorite things about Christmas. So, if there's an opportunity that we could serve those people on Christmas this year, let me know. Like we would be honored.
Yeah, we got to talk about that. Absolutely. If you're down in the dumps, go hang out with people that are less fortunate.
That's right.
Seriously, that'll turn stuff around real quick. So if you haven't been listening, we've been talking to Courtney Neugart, and she's a real estate agent here in the Phoenix Valley. And Courtney, I'm going to give you the last word. Our audience has a ton of different people from different walks of life, a lot of real estate people, but also other people that are leaders. And that's the feedback I keep getting, is we're just having such good-hearted people. By the way, you have a good soul, Courtney. I love talking to you. You're a very, very good person. And thanks for just being so open and vulnerable. But how do people get a hold of you? And then do you have any last words to share with our growing audience?
Being on Instagram. So Instagram's probably the best way to reach out to me. So my Instagram handle is just my full name, Courtney Neugart, Courtney Neugart. So love to connect with you there. I guess my biggest words of wisdom is life is short. Do what you love. And if you are a realtor and you are not loving what you are doing every single day, go find what you're passionate about. Go find where your heart is, pray about it. God will provide. And if you're wanting to get into real estate, find somebody that can pour into you, like Jeff. Somebody that can lead you for your first couple of years in real estate, because number one, it's lonely. Number two, it's so scary. And number three, we've all been there. So if you can find a good mentor that can just walk with you through those, first several transactions, or, even your first couple of years, you got to do it. You can't do it by yourself.
Thank you, Courtney. This has been a great conversation. Thank you to everybody that's listened. I think we've gone over like 700 subscribers now. I'm so excited. We're heading towards it. Yeah, it's so exciting. Heading towards 1,000. Been doing this show now for about 8 months. Have loved every minute of it. And today you got to meet an amazing human being, a great leader, a great agent, a great mother, a great wife, just a great person. So reach out to her if you want to meet her, get to know her better. And I hope you took some things out of today that you could do in your life. And, I hope those you actualize some of the things we talked about today. So with that being said, I'm going to say goodbye for me and Courtney. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thanks for listening. Talk to you soon.
See ya.